This week, our coverage brings us back to the border, a topic poised to receive increased attention as the 2020 campaign season ramps up. A number of U.S. citizens can vote from Mexico, where the U.S. State Department estimates more than 1 million Americans live. To understand more about how the U.S. aids its citizens abroad, we traveled to the U.S. Consulate in Nogales, Sonora, where we spoke with Consul General Virginia Staab for her first on-camera interview with the media in Arizona.
We have basically three priorities down here. First and foremost is always the safety and security of American citizens that are either living here or visiting here. Our second priority is really to increase security for both countries, for both the United States and Mexico. And then third is to streamline trade, do what we can for American business, and look at investment opportunities down here, Americans that are doing business on this side of the border and looking after their interests.
Oftentimes we see travel advisories or threat levels. Mexico is facing an unprecedented level of violence at this point. What sorts of things should we consider when we are traveling here? I mean, how seriously should we take those advisories?
So we do conduct, as you mentioned, Lorraine, we do conduct a travel advisory for every country around the world. Mexico in general is a level 2, which is exercise increased caution. The Sonora state is level 3 at the moment, which is reconsider travel, and that's based on some recent incidents that have happened here. Mexico is safe. I live here with my children, and we have a wonderful time. But you do have to behave accordingly. It's like any big city in the United States. You need to be careful.
As a precaution, Staab recommends U.S. citizens traveling internationally sign up online for the department's Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, known as STEP. They can register their trip with the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate so the State Department can get in touch in case there's an emergency.
There isn't anything that we do with it because Americans have expressed concern of privacy, etc. It's only in case of a natural disaster or some sort of political unrest that we know where to start looking or we know how to help people.
Some of the headlines that many of us have seen are the mass graves in Rocky Point, the family that involved the women and children who were killed. That falls under your area of responsibility, correct?
It does. And so for the graves near Rocky Point, we've gone out and visited them. It hasn't happened yet, but in case Americans are located in that area, we want to be able to say we've seen it, we know what it is. We're working with authorities to follow judicial processes, and that's our area. So we believe we need to explain that to Americans. We have not been to Bubby's Bay. That's on our travel advisory that we're not allowed to go to that area, but we have been in very close contact with the family. We help them immediately afterwards, and we continue to provide services to them. It was a real tragedy for both Mexico and the United States.
They were dual citizens. How exactly does that play into the investigative phase that's occurring right now?
So the investigation is ongoing, as you mentioned. Mexico considers them Mexicans, and we consider them Americans. And so the fact of their dual nationality doesn't impact our services on either side.
Staab said the United States offered to assist in the investigation, and Mexico accepted. The FBI is currently working with Mexican authorities. Though some arrests have been made, the investigation remains ongoing. Should Americans be alarmed when they hear those sorts of headlines so closely, to their region here in southern Arizona?
I understand the concern, and I understand that folks are very preoccupied and worried about their safety here in Mexico. That could happen in the United States, quite honestly. And so we believe that Americans need to be informed. They need to read our travel advisory. That's why we're down here as well, is to really give information about what areas are safer and what areas we encourage folks not to go.
In the city of Nogales, Sonora, the consulate has also taken steps to advance the lives of its residents, regardless of their nationalities. Last year, it teamed up with the University of Arizona to run a program aimed at developing more women entrepreneurs. And at her previous post in Guatemala, Staab also led the State Department's efforts to deter children from getting involved with gangs. When did the State Department really start to explore these other avenues as a part of its work?
So the State Department has always focused on building the next generation and really investing in other countries so that it alleviates some of the problems that are in the United States. For example, if we're able to empower youth in Guatemala and we're able to keep them out of gangs and make sure that they are future generations for their own country, they might be less incentivized to come to the United States to look for a future there. Many of these people, I find, from speaking to them, they want to stay in their country, they want to stay with their families, but they need options, they need hope, they need opportunities. And we try to provide some of those opportunities to defray that irregular migration that is happening.
Currently, the consulate is focused on talks with stakeholders in Sonora about labor shortages in its factories and hiring opportunities for migrants in need of jobs. Staab says the industry has about 2,500 vacancies. That advocacy also extends to Nogales' ports of entry, where billions of dollars worth of goods pass through each year and contribute to Mexico's status as the #1 trading partner for both the U.S. and Arizona. What's been your role in making sure that wait times don't get excessive, but that trade continues to function, but that security is a top priority at the ports?
So it's really advocacy. More than anything, speaking to everybody, using my diplomatic skills of speaking to folks on this side of the border and the other side of the border, figuring out what are the hurdles, what are the limits, and how can we come about overcoming those. I believe that we need to use state-of-the-art technology to improve our ports of entry and to make sure that they are the 21st century ports that we can make most agile to accommodate all of this trade, and not just trade, but regular Mexicans and regular Americans that are crossing in the passenger lanes.
Locally, how would you rate things here?
So my job I always see as advocacy for this area. There's a reason why we're overseas, and there's a reason so that we can share the reality that is on the ground. Because unfortunately, some policy folks that are very far away in our nation's capitals, both in Mexico and in the United States, will make policies without fully understanding exactly what the reality is. And so we try to share with that what's really happening at the port of entry so that they have that sense. Because I think if we do sit down and we do talk about things, we have so much more in common than we have differences. And I'm confident that folks will come to some compromise and some agreement.
Okay. Consul Virginia Staab, thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. Nice having you here.